Welcome to Creature Covenant with Dr. Adriana, a world movement that celebrates the healing power of the sacred human-animal bond. Now, here is Dr. Adriana.
Well, welcome again to another chapter of Creature Covenant. Today I have a very special guest with me, Miss Carla Meeske. She is the creator of the Spirit Healer School of Shamanism, a pioneer in web-based distance healing and learning of shamanism. She has over 20 years of experience in professional shamanic practice for both animals and people. She is also the developer of animal communication, specifically using shamanic techniques for the healing of animals. She is a superb teacher who creates magic for her students and guides. So I am so pleased and welcome, Carla. It's such an honor to have you with us. And just with no further, I just would like for you to let us know what is it. Introduce us to the word of shamanism. A lot of people don't really understand or know about shamanism.
All right, thank you, Adriana. It's such a privilege to be here, and I so appreciate it. Thank you. Shamanism is the ancient art of crossing between the worlds to speak to spirit and to bring back healing for people and for animals. And all human beings come from shamanic roots, because shamanism is what our ancestors, going back X thousands of years, sometimes I hear 40,000, sometimes I hear 60,000. I don't know how old people are. But as old as people are, shamanism has been how they have doctored and how they have navigated the craziness of the world. A shaman can go into a trance and cross between the worlds and speak to spirit and get information, get direct healing power, get revelation, and it's incredibly accessible to all of us. In the old days, certain people were designated to be the shamanic healers for the tribe. And while everyone in a tribe would develop their capacity, certain people were the go-tos for healing sessions and for fixing things, just as we have certain people like Adriana now who are go-to. One of the things that's remarkable about our current day and age, every single one of us has ancestors who come from shamanic cultures. It's in our DNA. Most of those shamanic cultures got lost or squished or set down under by modernization and by political stuff, the kind of things where, for example, in the revolution, Russia burned all the drums and all the shamans had to go underground. And so this is very common for autocracies to squish shamanism. And the church, of course, didn't like the competition, so they squished shamanism. And consequently, the knowledge of our ancestors is down there, accessible to us, but not necessarily in books. And for about the last 50 years now, shamanism has had a resurgence in modern world because a man named Michael Harner and others like him, anthropologists with great imagination and strength, brought it back. And what you'll see now are a lot of people like me who have become very well trained, who are leading people to also become well trained, so that more and more of us who have the proclivity or the desire can learn shamanism and can connect to our spiritual teachers, our ancestors, our power animals, and have our lives really enriched. So, shamanism is the oldest form of medicine. It's the oldest philosophy. It's the oldest mysticism. And it's alive and well today. Yeah.
And it's so beautiful and so powerful. And I had that opportunity to experience this in our session where we connected with my lost past dog, Gizmo, my
Yeah.
best. And he's not lost, he's not gone. He's there with me, available anytime I want to connect. And shamanism brought that power back to me, that knowledge, that anytime access that that connection with him. I never lost him. He was there. He's in a different dimension, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. So it was such a powerful, beautiful experience, and I thank you so much for that. It
My pleasure.
helped me
My
heal
pleasure.
tremendously. And for anybody that is interested in experiencing, connecting with their pets, with their patients, um, with people or other realms, I think that shamanism has so many applications, which tells me there is a lot that can be done in modern medicine. If we connect that part to shamanism, we could really help our patients beyond what we know of Western medicine.
Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please.
I've had some dental events in the last couple weeks. My one of excuse me. One of the women who teaches in my school is called spirithealercircle.com. It's Spirit Healer School of Shamanism. The website is Spirit Healer Circle. And my personal website is spirithealer.com. I'm working on getting it all one, but right now this is our division. In any case, Joanna is my European instructor, and she was teaching a ceremony on big, beautiful limpia ceremony to do deep clearing, and I couldn't go because I had an emergency root canal that morning at the same time that she was teaching her ceremony. So I'm in the dental chair, zoned out. My computer trusty here is on the console of the dentist's office because I had to start the meeting and all that. I was running the Zoom. And she's doing the ceremony, and I'm so zoned out, I literally was this close to falling asleep while the dentist was drilling on my tooth. And I thought, this is awesome. And I could feel the spirits vibrating and radiating through. Okay, fast forward. I had to go in to get the crown prep. It was my front tooth that she was working on. You can see it. See my temporary? Very nice, very nice. So they don't do that whole crown prep when they do a front tooth. They just go in, get the nerve, and then come back later. So I went back in later to have the crown prep and also have another prep here. And I was teaching the 3 cauldrons class that afternoon. And so I wanted to prepare for the 3 cauldrons class while I was in the dentist chair, because why not, right? Mm-hmm. She's working on me. I start journeying. I go deep. I call all the spirits in. They start reverberating through the room, and I do the 3 cauldrons class in my head. Like an athlete skis down the slope. I practice my workshops in my head. And the dentist said, "You're a pretty girl, just like you." She says, "Carla, I just have to tell you, I do my very best work when I'm working in your mouth. I feel like my work is perfect and nothing goes wrong in your mouth. Your teeth love the work and they're so cooperative." And I'm like, oh, my mouth is this, and this, like my eyes are like... And she said, "I think it's because you're so relaxed, it makes me relaxed." And I know that's half of it. The other half of it were all these compassionate spirits helping her hands be perfect, helping her judgment and her timing be perfect. So I wanted to share that with you because I think that shamanism has a great place as a support system for the modern doctor, to make that doctor feel the spirits, trust, help, all that, to help their judgment. So you have a question, is it this, is it that? Your intuition is right because the spirits are with you. I think there's a big place for it.
Definitely. Definitely. And it's so beautiful because I sometimes, when I am in the zone, right, when I'm doing my surgeries, and I love doing surgeries because it's just my time, and I'm kind of like, I know, I feel that it's not just me, there's something beyond me powerful that is helping me. That's how I feel. Like I'm so zoned, I'm so like coordinated, and it's so natural, and I'm so in flow. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it. That's it.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. I'm not stressed out. I'm in the zone, like I call it. So I definitely feel that help. I know that it's not just me. I know that I'm guided, and I'm so thankful for that. So I know, and I have many, not many, but a few animal communicators that I have interviewed, and how in a way we have already answered this question, but how is different? How does the healing happens differently in between animal communication, which is more like a telepathic communication
right.
that happens, as opposed to spirit, right? That is the difference. Am I right?
Well, I look at it like this. I did not learn telepathic communication. I learned shamanism.
Yeah.
And when I went to hang my shingle out, I realized I wanted to work with animals because I'm much more an animal person than a people person. I've got horses, it goes on and on. And so I wanted to work with animals, and nobody else was. So I started doing shamanic healing for animals, but it quickly became clear to me that talking to them and having that interaction with them in the journey was just a natural thing. So I asked my teachers, how do we take this journey where I go really deep and make it simply animal communication? She said, just back up your depth. And you're there with the animal in the journey, and you're looking at him, and you just yak. You just talk, ask questions, and get information. So that became a natural, fluid thing. But the thing that separates animal communication from shamanic animal communication is the constant presence, influence, and direction from the spirit guides. My spirit teachers are always with me, and if I have a dog in my circle, my spirit teacher is in the circle, I'm in the circle, and so is the dog. And the spirit teacher is interacting with the dog more than I am, even. Mm-hmm. So the dog will say, my feet have been hurting. When I walk, I stumble, whatever the dog says. And the spirit will go in and find the place that's weird, find the thing that is problematic, and do healing on it. Pull out the energetic aspect of the problem, put the right healing power in, and a power animal will come in whose purpose is to guide the human and the human's team, the vets, the chiropractors, whoever's on the team. The power animal's purpose is to guide that team to give the very best work for the animal.
Wow.
So the shaman does animal communication, asks the spirits to fix what they find, and brings in a team for ongoing support so that the evolution of care will be appropriate and as good as it can be.
That is so awesome. It's a whole teamwork from different realms. That is so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
Wow.
And there's a veterinarian in my circle, an old vet. And he comes in and he does medicine on animals. He does his veterinary medicine on animals now and then. And once in a while, a very cool thing happens. A physician from the future will come in. And then they do future medicine. And I'm like, you can do that?
I would love to meet the veterinarian from the future.
Yeah.
Yes, we connect together, right? So that is
a classic thing is for you to journey to yourself when you're 80 and learn what you learned.
Wow, that's so
yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm so much into this. You have no idea. And in retrospect, in this experience with shamanism has helped me understand what before I could not understand in moments of my life where I've been so connected and so with it. And yes, there's stress, and a lot of times we're too much in our heads. And I feel like when we are too much in our heads, we are not allowing that help. I feel like when we're too stressed out, we're too distracted or too concerned about many different things, we're not really allowing that the guides to help us.
Yeah, we make it more difficult to listen to what they have to say.
It is difficult. And
Yeah.
I remember very important times in my life when I was getting ready to take a test so that I could become a veterinarian in this country. And I was just, in 2 weeks, I had to really gather all this information, all the veterinary medicine and all the disciplines, and just basically remember all of that and be tested for 3 days. And that knowledge was flowing out of my mouth, and it was all like in this perfect congruence. And I was just like in awe, because it was such a nerve-wracking moment, I would think, to be tested, one animal, the next unit, the next, another person asking me questions, and it was just flowing. It was flowing, and I was so grateful, because I knew at that time there was something else, and I was praying, oh, please help me, and it was it was beautiful. It was probably one of the most surreal experiences in my life. And now in retrospect, I understand where that was coming from. Before, I was just grateful to experience it. So, oh my gosh. But now in a lot of times when I see a patient and I start putting all of the things together, and this is what's happening, and this is it's wonderful. It makes me feel so happy, so connected to my profession. So and I know that a lot of people out there, regardless of their disciplines or their professions, they experience the same way in their own art, in their own abilities, and it's so wonderful. So there is certain ways that of interaction with spirit, or with healing happens. There is certain things. Could you explain what is soul retrieval?
Oh,
Power,
sure.
yeah, soul retrieval, power animal retrieval, illness extraction. I'm so into it. A spiritual prescription. I cannot wait to hear what all of these things are.
Okay.
Yes.
Shamanic healing, no matter who's doing it, from what culture or how, has three distinct parts. Love the bruised nail, huh? Three distinct parts. The first one is the spirits diagnosing what the root of the trouble is. And so if one way that they do that is they scan the physical body, and they see where the thing looks wrong, where there's a symbol of trouble, or there's just dark something, where things are amiss, out of place, or energy is inappropriately located. And then they pull that out. They pull out the energetic aspect of the problem. They wrap it up and they transmute it. Like going through a black hole, it becomes source material again. That energetic form that was creating trouble gets shape-shifted into energetic potential to become something more beautiful. And then the spirit will impart the correct power to help that body heal, to help that heart heal, to help that person move forward, that animal to become comfortable in the tribe that they've just moved into. A rescue animal moves into a house and it's confusion and he's biting. All the stress is pulled out of him, and then they put in this healing power. So those three parts are diagnosis, extraction, transmutation, and then power infusion. Happens on every healing. One of the biggest power infusions is to receive your own soul back. So it goes like this. When we undergo trauma, a dog undergoes trauma, a cat, a human, it can be bad enough that a piece of us says, I'm out of here. I'm done. This is not working for me. I have other ideas. I'm checking out. See ya. And we have soul loss. So trauma can create soul loss because you're smarter than that and you get the heck out of Dodge. And we get soul loss all the time. We get the breath scared out of us. That is a soul loss. Often soul comes back. The trauma is resolved, the soul comes back. Sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, the person or the animal gets other energy in there because, as Avogadro said, nature abhors a vacuum. The energy does come in and it can create problems. So we get what we call intrusions, which are energetic things that shouldn't be there. So then the shaman does the extraction transmutation and returns the soul part that was missing. For a dog, soul loss often happens at weaning. That's so traumatic. Oh my God. When they're being taken away from their mother and when they're being rehomed away from mom and they go through all that shock and awe, that often has soul loss. Rescue dogs often have soul loss and need soul retrieval because of all the crap they've gone through before they got into your happy hands, right?
Yes, that's right.
So the shaman finds the soul part, often seeing the scene of trauma that created the soul loss. So we'll go back, we'll see what happened, we'll negotiate with the soul part saying, I know you feel like you're safer here, but the truth is your body moved on, the rest of you moved on, you're living with this really great lady and she feeds you all the time, and you get to sleep on the bed. Would you like to come back? And the puppy part says, yes, that sounds good. Comes back, we blow the soul part in, and the dog changes. The dog becomes more whole, healthier, happier.
Wow.
It's a really neat process.
Wow, it makes me wonder a lot. So many pets that no matter how many trainers and medicine, love, attention, and still it's just not, there's a lot of unpredictability with some pets, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sadly, still, some pets unfortunately are put to sleep because of these serious behavioral issues.
Yeah, and sometimes the shaman can't fix that. Sometimes we can. But let me tell you a story of today. This is so cool.
Yes, yes.
My girlfriend Cameron likes Japanese dogs, and she works her dogs. I mean, it's a serious relationship. They do tracking, they do all this stuff. And she had two dogs, Sumi and Taki, and they reached the end of days, and they're on the other side. So she's sad. Finally, her soul comes back. She had soul loss going out with the dogs. Finally, her soul comes back. The cycle of sorrow has ended, and she finds another puppy. And she emailed me yesterday, I have puppy, bringing him back from Florida, shaman session tomorrow, celebrating his new life. Check? Check. So I did this session with this adorable puppy. And she said, here's my concerns. This breed is known to have sex on sex violence. So if I have a male dog, I can't bring another male dog into my tribe because the males will fight. That's what this breed is known for. And I would like to have two dogs. So I'm happy to get a female, happy to do that. But I would like to know if that's going to be okay and if there's anything we can do to make it okay. So Grandmother Sunflower, my main teacher, says, I can do anything, can't I? I'm Grandmother Sunflower. And she goes into this dog's DNA and she brings all this history of the dogs, all these soul parts, all this tribe. She goes deep down into the story of this dog's lineage, and she finds a wounding story in the lineage of this mean guy who was mean to the dog, and the dog was traumatized, It was a bad story. We took the guy, healed him, healed the dog, and then this daughter came through, daughter to the mean guy, and said, this was really my dog. And we put the soul back together, and they completely was joy.
Wow.
So we brought both of them up. The daughter's soul went to heal the mom of the puppy, because part of her request was that I do healing work on the mom who was traumatized from having her puppies taken away. It was her first litter. So that this daughter from God knows how many generations ago goes to help the mother. And then Grandmother Sunflower takes this healed DNA, puts it in, and activates the family happy dog DNA traits inside this puppy's chromosomes.
Wow.
And deactivates the violent parts. And she says, my advice to you is to nurture this by getting the dog the first, what do you call it, a customization to other dogs? With big old lover dogs, like big old Labradors, so that this dog's association with other is friendly, sweet, kind, darling.
Wow.
And if you do that, this dog will forget those violent tendencies in his DNA because they'll be shut off and the joyful companion part is activated.
Wow. Oh my God.
So time will tell, right?
Yes, we'll see. Wow. Amazing.
The other thing is Taki and Sumi, her deceased dogs, came in to give this dog an understanding of what his job is in the family and to explain to him the difference between the shoes. I said, oh, when she wears these shoes, you're going out to have fun. When she puts those shoes on, you have to stay home. And Cameron started to laugh, and she said, that's exactly right. I have my field trial shoes, and I always wear those shoes when I'm taking the dogs out for walks and for work.
Oh, so funny. Oh God.
So that's a good story, huh?
So many stories. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amazing. And I bet that there is, because of this, ancestral trauma, can people and their pets at the same time be affected by the negative or some bad energy, or be affected the same way? Because sometimes I feel like somebody is very nervous, or you can intuitively tell that the dog feeds a lot on their owner's demeanor, illnesses, state of being, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. The way I look at it is that we live in an energetic web, right? And people will say, my dog takes stuff on in order to help me. Maybe that's true. Or maybe that energetic web is just filled with the energy of stomach tension, or the energy of headaches, or the energy of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's inside that web picks up on it and starts vibrating with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're around a nervous person, you start feeling a little nervous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I really think it's true. There's a lot of shamanic techniques for working with that. One, of course, is you help the person get their healing work done and get their attitude and adjusted and so forth, or whichever the key animal is, the leader animal in the household. Another is to work on the web, to put healing into the web, to see the web between all the members of the household and see those places where it's gnarly and nasty, and put healing into that and let it flow out to where it needs to go.
Yeah. Oh
You'll like this. We see the web as fascia, that it looks like fascia.
Mm-hmm.
That
yeah, the connectedness. Yes.
Yeah.
Like a mesh.
Like a mesh with its own intelligence. and
Wow.
its own transference of energy, like loose fascia has.
So many different ways to heal, um, past, present, animals, people, DNA. What I also found interesting, the spiritual prescription.
Mm.
So that you can actually get from spirit, get prescribed, you should take more sun, you should be drinking more this, eating more that, don't stop eating this. How does that happen?
Well, there's a bazillion answers for that. One, I'll tell you this story. Spirit Healer School, we work in a village, a shamanic village of spirit that has a lot of different people in it who have different skills. And these are old people that were alive, right? These aren't just anybody. These are people who were probably in our communities went back in the day, maybe, in the before, I don't know how long ago. I have no idea. But Penny was at a friend's house and she was sleeping in sheets that were not familiar to her, and she started coughing, this deep, raspy, horrible cough that she couldn't quit. And so she checks in with herself and she realizes she's allergic to something in their laundry soap or. And what's she going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So she goes to the village and she finds the lady who runs the herb shop, the spirit that runs the herb shop. And that spirit mixes something up for her. She drinks it in the journey and her coughing stops and she falls asleep, and that's the end of that.
Wow.
So there's that.
Oh my God.
And here's another one that's right up your alley. A client today, her cat has some kind of obstruction or blockage that causes him to start breathing through his mouth. His nose won't operate correctly. He starts breathing through his mouth. And the specialist wanted to do all these incredible, expensive tests, and she declined it. And so I journeyed and a lot of stuff. But grandmother said, if they fix the ear, if you could get the ear clear, the sinuses will clear up, and this whole swelling and histamine reaction, this whole thing that's going on there, will clear up. Now, she never mentioned the ear to me. And the spirit also said, we know she likes homeopathic, so give her apis, because this is an allergenic reaction to something. And there's a systemic swelling that keeps coming back. So as a vet, you'd think, what kind of steroid might be appropriate, or is there another way that we can get that addressed? But she didn't mention anything about the ear. At the end of the session, she says, well, he's had that ear since we got him when he was 9 months old. Had the ear. Tell me about the ear. Well, it gets this black, horrible gunk in it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now wait a second. They call them EMTs for a reason. Ear, nose, throat, because the ear's connected to the sinus and the throat. So if the ear has some kind of weird infection of bacteria, fungus, or something, maybe the sinuses swell up and the cat can't breathe.
Totally.
None of the vets had said that. None of the vets had put two and two together. So there's a spiritual prescription. It isn't doing veterinarian medicine at all. It's just linking dots.
Mm-hmm.
And then the client can say to the vet, I'm wondering if this ear might be
The source, yeah.
the source of this. Is there something we can do to fix this ear? And the vet will go, yeah, well, let's work on that. How? I don't know. I'm not a vet. I have no idea.
I'm sure the cat's gonna feel a lot better now. That's amazing. So
Yeah, I mean, that's how shamanism can be helpful,
yeah,
because the shamanic perspective can be broader than your narrower perspectives.
totally, totally. Now, Carla, I know you have your school, And
Yeah.
and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in finding out more how they can learn, to be shamans, or how they can get help um, from your skills, from your blessings. Basically, that's what I call it. And how they can find you, how they can better get, like, you have so many courses. What do you recommend for somebody that's just starting to learn um, to connect with spirit, for example?
Sure. At Spirit Healers Circle, I have the very first course is free, and it teaches you to enter the shamanic journey in merged with a sacred tree and to merge with a power animal. So that's free, and it gives you the first introduction to going into the shamanic state of consciousness. And then the next class is also free, where you merge with a power animal who's the spirit guide that protects you and helps you, heals you, sends you where to go, protects you from trouble. So you be sure to call your power animal when the police are pulling you over so you won't get a ticket. Yeah, power animals are very useful. So we dance with the power animal in the second class. And then after that, I have an on-demand class that gives you a pretty in-depth introduction to shamanic journeying. And that's called the Three Worlds Sacred Tree course. And that course is a 3-part course. It takes about 6 to 8 hours to complete, and it's $79. After that, I've got some pre-recorded classes, but really it's one-on-ones on Zoom. Well, not one-on-one people, but small courses on Zoom. And I have a variety of classes. I'm revamping my schedule right now. I'm revamping the school. It used to be that I had 18 months of classes that you did in sequence, and then that gave you everything I know. Or you could do 12-week sequence of core shamanism focused on healing animals. And I called those my intensive courses. This core shamanism for animals, that 12 weeks program, that rocks. That works. People come in and they come out and they can heal animals. And it's awesome. And I am not changing that. That's like sacrosanct. And I'm finishing one now, and I'll be offering that again in September. Those are classes of no more than 8 people in the Zoom. There are sometimes more people who watch the recordings, so the classes can be larger, but 8 people in a classroom, so I can hold you and hug you and call you my loves and really make sure that you learn your stuff. In addition, I've got this broad range of beautiful, beautiful work, and I'm going to be shifting it to make a village program so that I'm offering modules like dragons, a module of dragons, and a module of journeying into the cosmos, and a module of working with your ancestors and healing that ancestral relationship and learning from your ancestors. So modules that are 4 weeks to 6 weeks long, and all of that happening within the context of this, I call this village, but it's going to be a membership site. Yeah. With weekly gatherings of the tribe where we all connect, and with sharing circles where people work for each other and support each other.
Wow.
There will be at least 5 teachers teaching by the end of the year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You are your students, right? Are you teachers now? Are you
Yes.
students? Wow.
Yeah. My students becoming teachers. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Definitely. It's definitely that people get good enough, they become so adept, so powerful that the spirits bring through them unique gifts. So Joanna, my student in Italy, she's Polish and Siberian, and her ancestors came knocking on her door in Journey World and told her that they had a way of doing egg ceremony. So working with an egg, chicken egg, to do healing work is pretty much all over the world and old traditions. But she learned a new way of doing it. She learned her people's way of doing it, and she made it her own, and she gets miracles, like all the time. And she does these ceremonies where you fall asleep getting your tooth worked on. And she has been studying with me for 5 years.
Wow.
And she's really, really, she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, if somebody wants to have a private session with you, healing session with their animal, how can they get in touch?
Spirithealer.com.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And there's a sessions thing at the top. You click that. I mean, I've got the app where you can find your own appointment if you can. If you can't, you call me. I don't book far out. That's not the way my teacher wants it done. Most of the people who call me they need me now.
Yes.
And so I try to be really responsive. I try to be available for same day or next day appointments.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Carla, it's been such an honor, such a pleasure to have you in this show. And I know
Thank you, darling. And I'm so glad you're doing this show.
Thank you.
What a blessing you are to the animal world. Well, how cool to have a vet who gets it. Yay!
Yay! Yeah, I get so much from this show because I've learned from gifted people like yourself from so many different backgrounds, and it's such a nice, beautiful experience. And my circle gets bigger and bigger. I get to learn more and more and meet wonderful people like that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Many blessings.
Blessings to you, my dear.
Much success.
And may Gizmo be a nuisance to you in your sleep for years to come.
Yes. Thank you.